Thank you, brother.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us for this live show focusing on the victory that West Indies had yesterday against Australia. It was a remarkable victory, one that is for the ages, and they did absolutely well. And I have my special guest is with me here, Michael Chambers, Executive Director of the Cricket Hall of Fame in Connecticut, United States, and Patrick from the um, beautiful country of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I just want to give them a chance to um, make an opening statement as we get this show on. We thank everyone at West Indies Cricket Development Academy for joining, both on our Facebook page and also on YouTube. Thank you for coming. Mike?
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jess. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Codlin, for inviting me. And it was a pleasure meeting Mr. Patrick from St. Vincent here. I was telling him earlier on, he looks like President Shallow, the new Cricket West Indies chairperson, president. So it's a pleasure to be here with you and look forward to the discussion.
Absolutely ecstatic to be here, guys. Especially speaking about Windies cricket. It's something I feel very passionately, and I always express my views about how we as a West Indians are moving forward with cricket. So I'm happy to be a part, and I'm happy to give my views on anything.
Mike,
Yeah.
when we look on the West Indies team and the way they, after Steve Waugh and a few other Australian would have lambasted the team, seven uncapped players, and some of them were saying West Indies should be allowed back into Australia and two divisions should be created because they can't allow teams like this to be coming to Australia and losing in 2 days. How significant is this win in shutting up those doubters and detractors of West Indies cricket?
As I was saying to Patrick earlier on, I don't want us to. Every time we have a victory, we keep saying we turn the corner. And cricket, we keep turning this corner too often now. But I must say, the pundits had reasons to doubt that seven uncapped players would have been able to perform in Australia. And I myself, who used to trash talk when I used to play, I don't give those persons who were talking I don't give them. I don't hold anything against them because, like I said, 7 uncapped players going to Australia could have been a disaster.
Mm.
As a mind power teacher, as a student of mind power now, what mind power tells you is that you ever tell a baby, don't touch a hot stove, and before you turn your back, the baby is touching the stove and is getting burnt. Well, what happened was these 7 players who went to Australia probably never heard about the great pace attack that Australia had or can exhibit any day of the week. So these 7 players going down had no fear. And as we know in mind power, fear is the biggest killer. So they went into this, call it a war, because that's what cricket is while it's at the field. Unconcerned about getting hurt or anything. See, the young fella broke his toe and still continued to play. So they had no fear.
Mm.
It is only the good Lord who could tell me that Australia didn't fix the wicket for the 2 greatest pace bowlers they have. But notice what happened. They had pace, we had fire. I noticed the last batsman that got out while he was playing, the stump was going down the field. That ball
Mm.
went by and he didn't even see the ball. Those guys were bowling quick. And when you see, it's one thing when you are quick and the other bowler from the other end is slow. You had 2 quick bowlers, so each one was lifting up the other one's pride. So both Josephs, they were in 7 heaven bowling with each other. And so Australia they were surprised when they saw the pace attack. Remember, somebody got hit a few days before. So it was Australia now who was fearful and not the West Indies. So the tables were turned. Now,
Mm.
going forward now, Cricket West Indies must now work on these guys' mindfulness training, where the fellows continue to believe in themselves. Earlier, myself and Patrick, we were talking. Self-doubt and self-worth are the 2 things that are killing the West Indies. They doubt themselves because you hear the commentators making certain, remarks about you. So you don't know who they're talking about, whether it's true or false. So that's my looking at the game. I think Australia was pleasantly surprised. Notice they declared. That's how confident they were,
And yeah. And to cut in there, Michael,
Go
for
ahead.
me, that declaration was, I think, very disrespectful. Like, you you have no doubt that you're gonna beat the opposition.
Exactly.
And I'm in the back of my, because I stayed up late every night to watch these matches. Because obviously the time zone difference, it was
Right.
early mornings. And when I saw the declaration, I'm like, is this really a good decision? Right? But me as a West Indian, I say, okay, I want the guys to go out there. They don't need to say much. I want them to talk with the bat, yeah, and talk with the ball, and that's exactly what happened. Right?
Yes.
What Shamar Joseph have done is probably one of the most mind-blowing things I've ever seen in cricket. Seven, 7 wickets with a stump to. I've been hitting. I've played cricket a lot of years, and I've never had a ball hit face pace like Stark, but Stark goes at 150 clicks. So imagine getting hit with a ball at 150 clicks. It's gonna be very painful. The
Yes.
next day, I had me and my one of my colleagues. We were saying, "There's no way that guy is gonna be bowling the next day." We said we're gonna be bowler shot. When I see Shamar come on the field, and I'm like, he probably just gonna feel. When I saw they give them the ball, and he's running through, and the first ball was 143, I said, something special is gonna happen here. And 7 wickets later, it's exactly what happened. So I want West Indies going forward to like go out there with that passion and find that fire inside. There's always gonna be doubters, right? the last World Cup, they didn't have a West Indies team in the World Cup, and that was very painful to see. So moving forward, I hope these guys have the right mind as we discuss the mindfulness moving forward, and they're ready to back them out no matter what opposition they're facing. That's my thoughts on that.
Yes.
Absolutely. Um,
Junior, you still there? Still hearing me?
you're hearing me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. Um, viewers, don't worry. We're getting good at what we are doing as we seek to bring you in the future more stories like this and show like this, because we have been dedicated fans to West Indies cricket even when they are losing, just that some of the administrators are not implementing the things that will go towards producing more cricketers like Shamar Joseph, because the youngster last year was working as a bodyguard in Georgetown, Guyana, and it gave him an opportunity to turn up at the cricket facility that they were training, and somebody saw his potential and gave him the opportunity, and it just appears like this guy, even though he's not studying mindfulness, but you can see that determination. And I just want Mike to speak more about the mind and the determination, all that goes into you producing such performances like this, because they don't just happen like that. It's a process.
Yes, well, like we said, I was talking with Mr. Patrick, and we were saying that he does his mindfulness training in the military in England. So he knows that the mind is a very, very powerful thing to save. Now, there's another piece of the puzzle, which is visualization. Now, it's obvious that this youngster, Shamar, coming from Guyana, coming from a poor situation, looking for a chance, got his chance. All he could see was success. So there was no failure in his mind. There was no losing that game in his mind. He was going to win, and he was going to take it upon himself to carry the team. So for him to grab a 7 wicket haul, the only other person who did something like that was Courtney Ambrose, coming out of the same kind of a situation. So when you are visualizing success, that's all that can happen. Success must come. Mind power training, mindfulness training. Patrick will tell you in the military to keep you out of becoming depressed, because the military is a very depressing situation. To keep you away from that kind of a mindset, you have to be able to control your thoughts. So that's why I've been pushing now since 2017 that the West Indies need to incorporate a mindfulness training where you have physical training, you're batting in the cage, you have to spend an hour in the classroom doing your mental and your mental
Hmm.
training. So this is where I am, this is where my head is, mind power training. If we don't do that, then this fellow, and let me just make a quick observation. Somebody needs to tell him quickly. This youngster has a big, it looked like a cow chain around his neck when he bowling. The only other person who used to do that was Kamar Roach. No, I can explain to you, when you're running up and that chain is knocking on your chest when you're coming up, that's another thought going in your head that is messing up your thought process. They need to take off these chains when they're bowling. There's no need. I mean, you can be pretty off the field, put on, wear 20 chains, that's okay with me. You have the money now to buy it. But when you're bowling, youngster, please don't use that distraction.
Absolutely. There's 2,000 plus people from Georgetown, Guyana. Any message to them about the
Oh
youngsters?
boy, so they can tell Shamar.
My message is to them. We need to see more of these players like Shamar Joseph. Yeah, if they have talent like this in Guyana, we need to see them more often. Yeah,
No,
if
no, they have it, Patrick. They have the
yeah,
talent. Yeah, man.
oh, we need to see more, much more. I It's been a while since I've someone seen someone bowl 11 overs on the trot, bowling up 145 picks consistently. We don't normally get that in the West Indies, but
I
it's
am going to take a bet that down in Guyana alone you have five of those. In
yeah.
Jamaica you have five, and in Barbados, batting, you have maybe 20 good players in Barbados who could bat just like Sir Garfield Sobers. We just haven't taken the time to discover them.
Mm.
You
On the
know?
thoughts of batting, um, I just want to give up some other like honorable mentions also to the guys because the bowling was good. The batting, we probably still walking, it's still a work in progress. But we definitely see that the younger talent, there's a lot of youngsters who are ready to showcase their talent, such as Mackenzie and Alric Altanes. And Mackenzie, especially, I like watching Mackenzie bat. He's has one of the best on drives I've seen in the Western ESS team for a while. I always big up
Yeah.
Shihop for his on drive, and Mackenzie is definitely up there.
No, we
So
have some good batsmen.
yeah.
Let me explain again. I believe, and I could be wrong, in my days, younger days, I remember the most important person on the cricket field was the groundsman, the guys who roll the wicket.
Mm,
So if when we're going to play, we say we need a hard surface or we need a turning surface that will be produced, and that is not illegal. No, I believe South Africa got outplayed. They had or they have the two greatest pace bowlers that they knew about. So when they declared, they believed that the pace was going to take them through the next day.
mm,
What they failed to understand and they did not realize was that West Indies didn't have two pace bowlers. They had two fire makers. They
yeah.
didn't see those balls. I'm telling you, that last out, that half stump. When that guy was playing
Mm,
forward, the stump was already going backwards.
mm,
That's how quick those guys were bowling, and they were controlling the ball. So the batting was also excellent. But
mm.
remember, they were batting two great pace bowlers, and then you have the fellow Lion. That's the guy I love, the spinner. That
No,
guy's a crazy
Leon,
bowler.
Leon, or whatever his
Yeah,
name. Yeah, Leon.
So
Yeah.
for us to outbat them also was telling you that these seven guys had no fear.
I think how many we had what, seven uncapped players,
Seven
Seven,
uncapped.
yeah.
and
Um,
they definitely, there's so much potential for them moving forward. Hodge, um I like Justin Graves bowling. I love his action. It's a
Right.
bit, it's a bit different, but he puts the balls in the right place. Um, his pace is, he can definitely get it up there if constantly working. Uh, I'm not sure his age. I heard one of the commentators was speaking about his age and how it took him so long to get into the Western Indies team. I don't know how we are missing these players so late in Western Indies setup. Because I remember in Jamaica there's I know Bona is not in the team. Um, Bona was, I've been hearing about Bona for years, and it's not late into his career that he's getting a call up. So I don't know what the West Indies the board can implement to like we're not missing these talents.
And Kumabana.
I don't think we're missing anything, Banner, right?
Yeah,
We have a lot of talent. That's what I'm telling you. We have a lot of talent. What is going to happen now? With US cricket taking off, a lot of these players now are going to be playing in the West in the US. So now we're going to have enough room for everybody to shine.
Right. Um,
perfect.
as Patrick just mentioned about Mackenzie, we heard on Sportsmax and other cricket shows here in the region, they were calling for the head of Mackenzie, despite Mackenzie making his debut against India in Trinidad and Tobago in the rainy season, and he just batted one innings. How can the West Indies bring seven uncapped players to Australia? The incumbent batter in the 11 is Kurt Mackenzie, and they are calling for his head when he only play one test match, batted one innings because it was a rain affected test match. So it is nonsensical because the youngster did not get an opportunity to prove himself. And against a competent Australia team, we have seen how he stand up and perform against them. And I just want your thought on the call for him to be dropped. And he answered to those critics. No, are those calls justified? Were they justified? And have Mackenzie done enough to shut up the doubters?
Uh, no, and yes. There's two parts of the question. Firstly, I'm going to give an example of chances. We give a lot in West Indies, Windies team. We give a lot of chances to players. And Mackenzie for 100% should not be dropped one bit. I don't know if you guys remember Devon Smith. How many chances was he given? And he's probably regionally the most prolific run maker. He was dominating in 4-day cricket for years. And so for people to come and try to shun this young man, I think that's very disrespectful in all manners. He's what 24 years old, and he's standing up to these bustling fast bowlers. The Australian fast bowler is probably the best pace attack in the world currently, right? So Mackenzie, give him another 10 test. Let's see what he has, right? He's standing up to these fast bowlers and he's batting them well. Maybe his shot selection is a bit poor, but as he gets more chances, he'll get better. These are my thoughts on that.
All right, looking at what you're saying, you're saying the truth. Remember now what I am saying. I am coming to you guys from the point of mind power training. Neither the selectors have mind power training nor the players. All right. What that does, I like to talk from parables because I am 73. So you guys have a far way to go to catch up with me.
Yes.
I used to play on a team, and one season we had a very outstanding batsman on the team by the name of Edgar Samuels. And one season, when the season started, we call him Sammy. Sammy made 5 ducks, back-to-back ducks, and they were calling for Sammy's head. Well, I was the president of the cricket club and I was a member of the team, so I had the last say. No, I didn't feel comfortable on the field without Sammy on the field. I didn't care how many ducks he made. I just wanted to have him on the field because any day Sammy got off, you had a century. And brothers and sisters, I am happy to tell you that on the 6th time going to bat, they already wrote down the duck in the book for him. Sammy didn't come back till he made 110. Why I'm telling you that story? When we found out what was happening to Sammy, he was having some problems. And nobody knew that the fellow was going through a psychological process that was affecting his mental status. This kid at 24, we have to train them, Brother Cadlin. So I'm going to expect West Indies Cricket Academy to put on a mind power training. You have Brother Patrick, he can come on the Zoom from England, and we have these fellows come on and talk to them why it is important that they train their heads, train their minds at 24. This guy Shamar, if he does not, and this is a prediction, and I hate to do this, if somebody don't take him under their wing, Andy Roberts, and Mikey Holden, Clive Lyde, and sort of mentor him, let him understand what the thing is all about. 6 to 8 months, and he's going to be burnt out because he's going to get some serious money coming at him from IPL to come and play. So we have to be careful now how we hone these guys' skill. And it's not about talent anymore, it's more now about his mind. So they don't listen to the pundits because they have no mind power training and they have no conscience. And they are trying to probably get him out to get one of their bodies in. You have to be careful when people do that when they talk about players, you know. They should keep this squad for the next 2 years. Don't change nobody unless they're hurt, you know.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This is
This
what,
should be our spot moving forward.
Yes.
absolutely, this is what Ian Bishop said. Thanks to this young man, Shamar Joseph, for bowling one of the most remarkable, courageous, and high quality spell on an injured right foot. All credit to you and your loved ones, bro, for what you have achieved and will continue to achieve. And Joseph said something about um, his future in West Indies cricket and where Test cricket is concerned, where he said that there will be T20s and Test match, but he will always choose Test match. So he's already putting out the message that he wants to be here, he wants to play Test match. But we all know the money is tempting at times.
Mm. Whew.
I wish I had a chance to talk to that fellow, you know. And let me tell you why. I am going to be the odd person here now today. The reason why Kirk, what's his name? The captain,
Craig Brathwaite.
Brathwaite.
Bratwit, yeah.
Why everybody was blaming him with field setting and making some bad choices? The captain was used to Jermaine Blackwood as his vice captain for all these years. And I kept telling folks it was Blackwood's perception of the game that kept Brathwaite in the driver's seat. And nobody would believe me. They dropped, there's no reason for them to drop Jermaine Blackwood. He was not performing, but he was the glue that was holding the team together. It's his mental status that was causing the thing to work with Brathwaite to be able to function and bat the way he was batting because he did not have the pressure because Jermaine was taking some of the pressure off of him by helping him. You see what I'm saying? With Jermaine gone, notice Brathwaite couldn't perform. And it's not a good batsman. When you're under pressure, you're under pressure. And unless you have mind power training, you're not. I am calm and relaxed. I am calm and relaxed. That's what mind power teach you. You know? So going forward, the selectors, the men in charge, the administrators have to learn this mind power thing. Everybody has to be in the same book.
And that's what Roddy Webster was
I agree with
doing
you.
some
I agree
years
with you
back.
100% on that.
The
Sorry.
the mind power, just to clarify for our viewers, the mind power that you're talking about is a more hands-on approach, just like what the Dr. Webster was doing with the team some years back. That's what you're referring to, Mr. Chambers.
Correct, sir. That's exactly training you how to control your thoughts. Yes.
Absolutely, because if I understand what you're saying is that some of our batters, the same way they got out in game 1, it is the same thing that happens in game 2. And for a perfect example, in the first test match, where Joshua De Silva was caught hooking in the first innings, and in the second innings, he continued to
Mm,
do the same. So it shows that he's not thinking about the game, and so he continues to make the mistake. And you're suggesting if they were getting mind power training, then they would have not made the same mistake that they made before. That's what you're trying to
mm.
say.
Correct, sir. That's exactly what and Mr. Patrick can tell you about the training because he does that kind of thing
Yeah,
to straighten out his mind in the military. Can't make a mistake, in the military. You're not coming back. You're coming back in a body
exactly.
bag.
He is 100% right. We do mind trading, mindless, like days specifically designed. We don't do any other work. We come in and we just talk about how we can uplift ourselves, how we can make ourselves better, working, taking deep breaths. Even like, sometimes we do yoga. If you see big strap military men doing yoga, you're wondering what are these guys doing? But it's just to get your mind refocused on something. And sometimes that's what we lack, just focus. Michael, you were saying earlier when we were having a discussion and we about like Virat Kohli and how focused he is when he comes out to bat. Right? He might not be the best looking batsman, right? Not stylish, but he's very focused on what he has on hand. And shots that like the silver played, that hook shot, that set was set from ball 1.
That's correct.
Yeah, and he still fall into that trap. Yeah, twice, not even one, twice. Right? Because they know he's a prolific hooker on the ball. Easy. So if he had that mindfulness, yeah, he probably would put that shot away. Especially look like at Steve Smith. They were setting the hook trap for Steve Smith. And what did Steve Smith started doing? He stopped hooking. He was taking the ball on his chest, right? Ducking. So maybe moving forward, that's what we should the West Indies team should really incorporate. Yeah,
Absolutely.
St. Junior's.
You hearing me? We're
Yeah,
having
I'm
a
hearing
Yeah.
you. Sorry. If there's a back feed on the line, so it takes like a while.
right, right. We're having a bit of issue where the technology is concerned, but certainly for the next show, we will be better organized as we continue to give you the reaction after the glorious victory by the West Indies team and Shamar Joseph, wonderful coming on the scene for West Indies. I just want to read because the Australian captain was very generous in defeat, and he say as a cricket fan
Mm,
and as a lover of Test cricket, he's happy for the debut of Shamar Joseph, and I think that's generous of the Australian captain. And even though they are like the way they are, it just shows. And when you
Mm,
look and see the fans at the Gabba appreciating the good cricket that Joseph have brought on, even in Adelaide, how they clapped him and appreciate him, it just goes to show how appreciative these people are of West
mm,
Indies cricket and what it brings. When you look
cricket,
and
yeah.
see Adam Gilchrist hugging up Brian Lara, they're celebrating together. You see how much West Indies cricket means to people, how it makes them happy, how it elates them and bring joy to people here in the Caribbean. We're just happy for our team, and we're certainly happy for them performing and hammering Australia for the first time in 27 years. Unfortunately, it's all the time we have. We will certainly come back on the weekend for another show. I want to thank our special guest, Michael Chambers, the executive director of the Cricket Hall of Fame, being with us this morning, and also Patrick from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and also from the UK, a cricketer and an army man by profession, taking time out to join us for this wonderful show. I just want their final thoughts before we go off. And before that, we thank all the viewers for joining us this morning. We're asking you to continue to support West Indies Cricket Development Academy in whatever way you can. Michael Chambers is also a contributor to this academy, so we thank him for his contribution to us as well. Go ahead with your final thoughts.
It was a pleasure meeting you, Mr. Patrick, and I hope we can continue on this Zoom link. I am asking Mr. Cadlin to set up a special program where we can talk to the people about mind power and mindfulness training because it sounds like you are into it. I love it. And that's all I would have to say. Without mind power, the West Indies will be going no place.
Patrick?
Awesome. For me, I just want to say how proud I am to be a West Indian fan. It is really good to see us going out there and showcase what we have to offer to the world. Moving forward for the next couple of matches, I want we to go out there with that passion and that fire in our belly to make sure that we can achieve and conquer any team that comes to us.
Certainly. And
Yes.
thank you for joining us, Patrick. Thank you, viewers, for joining us. We will come back on the weekend for another show as we preview the first ODI between the West Indies and Australia. We will also have an address from the coach, Darren Sammy, for you when we come back live on the weekend as well. Michael Chambers will certainly be back with us to talk more on West Indies cricket and mind power. And Patrick will join us whenever he can because he goes back to the UK in a few days. Thank you all. Thank you for joining us. Please leave your comment and your views, and we will certainly read into them and answer your questions. Thank you so much for joining us. Goodbye for now.